Hi, welcome to this fundamentals discussion on span formatters in Nitral. The span formatter is a foundational formatter in the Nitral language that has a few specific qualities that are good to know when laying out your document or structuring your code. So let's take a look at what we have here. We have a basic document set up with a couple of pre-declared variables. So let's go. Okay, first let's just take a look at a span here and see what it does. So we have a span formatter and it's being revised by these two lines of content where each line is an element of the span. And a span will turn these two lines into a run. So let's take a look. So we have a span with multiple elements here, and on your keyboard, you can hold down Control-Shift, and over here on the right pane, if you hover over an item, it will highlight it and show you the baseline, the center line, the top line, and the rectangle. And so it's showing you that this is all one contiguous run that's been created by this span. And the reason for that is because this element and this element have exactly the same formatting. When you want to, just paste this code here. When you want to format inline content, that's a great use for a span. So let's press F5 on this and just get a look at what's going on here. So we have a paragraph, and inside the paragraph we have a single element unformatted, and then we have a span where we have bold formatting turned on for this bit of text, and then another span with italic formatting turned on with this bit of text. And if we do the same thing we did before, where we press Control-Shift and hover, now we'll see that each one of these spans is a different run. So this has created a list of runs in the paragraph, and you can see them by holding down Control-Shift. When the text is formatted differently, they'll come out in a list of runs. When it's formatted the same, they'll come out in one run. Let's just look at a couple more examples here of inline formatting, why you might want to do something like that. So I'm going to press F5 here. So this is an example here of adding some superscript text for whatever reason. Here it's superscript, and you can see again they're two separate runs. And this is normal text superscript, same thing with subscript. Pretty straightforward. You will also find that spans are very useful when it comes to normalizing your styling. When you're going to do any substantive work in Nitral, you're going to find that entering styling information over and over again, just as in any other type of coding, is not something you want to do. You want to normalize that. So we're going to just show a little example here of normalizing our code. So we're looking for this emphasis here that I'm going to paste in right here, and we'll talk about that. So here I'm using a span to create a styling method called emphasis. And in this span, I'm applying a wave underline, I'm making it bold and italic, and I'm using these special Nitral properties that are available in any revision. And these allow you to specify characters before and after whatever the particular content is that's being revised. So let's F5 this and see how it looks. Okay, it does exactly as we expected. It creates two separate runs together, lined up horizontally, and it applies the special formatting. Let's take a look at that concept again, but this time using a feature that is specific to a span, not completely specific, but it's something that cannot be used in a paragraph when you're just dealing with normal text, and that is a tip action. So we're looking for this hyperlink method here. I'm going to put it in up here. These are our two styles. Both are spans, And in this span here, we're adding this tip action property. A tip action cannot be added to a paragraph. It can only be added to a span and certain other graphical objects. So in this case, the tip action that we're applying is a URL. And we're going to, again, use the begin and end properties to add some special characters before and after the content. And then down here, we're going to add a hyperlink. We're going to give it the URL of nitro.com. And we're going to say, please visit us on the web. And then we're going to show another example where we're applying a hyperlink to the same address, but this time we're just going to use an icon and apply the hyperlink to that. So I'm going to press F5, and you can see that when we hover over this hyperlink, we get the little pop-up. The pop-up is the tip, and if we click on the hyperlink, that's the action. So here we got the tip pop-up, and then if we click it, that's the action. Now, normally when you're creating a document, it's going to be static, and so you can't click on a link in a static document. But in Nitro, you can publish documents to nitro.com and have your documents presented there. And when you publish documents to nitro.com, these links are actually functional. So you could have a full product spec sheet, and at the bottom you could have your URL or your phone number or a mail address for support or something. And people can actually click on those and they're functional. And since we touched on styling, I'm going to take that to just a little further in the discussion, that when you apply your styling, it's likely you're going to want to put it in its own namespace and probably even in a separate file. So that stuff is removed from where you're trying to generate your document content. Then you can refer to your styles by the term style, styles, whatever you name it. So in this case, we applied this read-only namespace. And by making it read-only, Nitro will read it in one time when the application loads and not reload those over and over again as they're used. So now we just need to apply styles dot to our styles here. And now we're starting to apply normalized styling to our document. And this is just scratching the surface with styling, but it's a good example of how to get started with normalizing your styling in Nitro. Okay, so one more key thing to discuss regarding spans is a concept I mentioned earlier, which is the alignment consideration. So here I've got an image and some text, and you can see how they're aligned, but it's not evident immediately what's going on. This is where I'm going to zoom in here so we can all see this much more clearly. I hold Control Shift and hover over this image, and it's showing me a green line at the top, a red line in the middle, and a blue line at the bottom. The top, middle, and baseline. The blue line is the baseline. If I hover over the text, I get the same three lines: top, center, and baseline. So we can see that when we go back and forth, that this image and this text is aligned on the baseline. And Nitro gives us the ability to adjust the baseline for graphical elements like this fit box here. So we're going to go up here to our fit box, and we're going to add a revision to that, because you can revise anything in Nitro. And we are going to add a baseline, and we're going to give it a percentage. And we'll start with, let's just say 50%. And we're going to press F5. We can see the text moved, but let's see what actually happened here. We'll hold Control Shift, and now it's hard to see, but the blue line and the red line are sitting right on top of each other, because we told the baseline to move to 50%. So let's change it to 0 and F5. Now the blue line is at the top. So the baseline is moved to the top line. And if we do it at 100%, then it's back to the bottom. So that's what it is. 0 is at the top, 100% is at the bottom. And we can sit here and fiddle with this until we get it where we want it with the text. So I put it at 62 since I have already fiddled with it. And when we hover over it now, we can see the baseline is here. And that lines up with the baseline of the text. So that's how you can use the baseline property along with the runs that are generated in a span to align them in a way that makes sense for your particular content. So I just want to reiterate the point one last time that a span does not actually make its way into the document. The span takes its formatted content and it presents it to its parent formatter. In this case, it presents itself to a paragraph. And that parent formatter is responsible for placing that content into the document. But a span is a meaningful foundational component for building Nitro documents. You'll also find it useful for styling inline elements as well as normalizing your styling code. I hope this information was helpful. If you have questions or suggestions, please visit us on our Discord channel. You can find the link to that in the description box below. Thanks for watching.